Good day! Welcome to MAPE Department Educational page. Today, we will be having Week 1 Music 10. For today's objectives, you will identify the different artists and their works in Impressionism music. You would also explain the performance practice such as the settings, composition, role of composers/performers, and audience of the 20th century music. You would also identify and be able to appreciate the other relative forms of music. We start with the definition of Impressionism. Impressionism music is a French movement in the late 19th and 20th century. The sentimental melodies and dramatic emotionalism of the preceding Romantic period, whose themes and melodies are easy to recognize and enjoy, were being replaced in favors of moods and impressions. There are several artists under Impressionism music. We have Maurice Ravel. His famous compositions are Pavane for a Dead Princess, String Quartet, Sonatine for Piano, Rhapsody Espagnole, and Bolero. For Claude Debussy, which is the father of Impressionism music, we have String Quartet. L'amour, which is a highly imaginative and atmospheric musical work for orchestra about the sea, and the premier arabesque, and the famous Clair de Lune, also known as the Moonlight. Now that you know the two famous artists under Impressionism music, you can now do the activity. What I have learned. The title is Composer's Table Activity. Fill out the table below by indicating the name of the artist and their works during the Impressionism era and answer the question that follows. Please use a separate sheet of paper for your answer. After you answer the activity, you may now proceed to Lesson 2, Module 2, Week 2 of the Division Module, entitled Performance Practices in the 20th Century Music. In relation to our topic, we have performance practices, which are the terms applied to musical techniques employed in specific musical genres during specific eras. Quite often, performance practice refers to techniques that are implied and not written or notated. In short, performance practices relies on the skills applied in different genres of music. Another part of the performance practices is the settings. In the early 20th century, it gave rise to a new musical style, which are quite extreme, as the electronic, chants, and minimalist styles that arose later. These new styles were Impressionism, Expressionism, Neoclassicism, avant-garde music, and modern nationalism. During this period of 20th century, there was a large number increase in the variety of music that people had to access. Therefore, people at this moment has a lot of variation in choosing their types of music. Third part of performance practices is the composition. The compositions are innovative and experimental in style in the 20th century. Coming from the different nations, these composers clearly reflected the growing globalization of musical style in the 20th century. Some even made use of electronic devices such as the synthesizers, tape recorders, amplifiers, and the like to introduce and enhance sounds. New innovation and discoveries in science and technologies lead to continuing development in the field of music. Fourth, we have the role of the composers. Remember that musical genius of the individual composer stands out as the moving forces behind the innovative and experimental styles mentioned above. So the composers are considered as the genius of the musical music. They change the course of musical development by dissolving the traditional rules and conventions into a new language of possibilities in harmony, rhythm, form, textures, and language. It seems there is no obstacles to their creativity, to the limits of their imagination. Next is the role of performers. It demands considerably technical virtuosity from the performer, which is the character, ability, or skill of virtuoso, a person who excels in musical technique or execution. A virtuoso is one that is expert in his field. Improvisation is a necessity in this style. For example, one could expect a piece to be read from left to right or vice versa, or the performer might turn over and go on doubling indefinitely in whatever order before returning to the starting point, which is a part of avant-garde. Lastly, part of the performance practices, one of the most important, is the audience. Compositions and works were met with extreme reactions, either strong hostility from the general public or enthusiastic acclaim from the general audience. There is a globalization of the 20th century music styles at this time. To appreciate our lessons for performance practice, here is a link provided. Observe the element of performance practices. The title of the video is The Making of the West Side Story. Enjoy watching and keep learning. Now that you had watched the video and appreciate our lesson in performance practices, you would do the activity post-test crossword puzzle. Direction: fill out the crossword puzzle with the correct terms using the given clues at the right side. Once done, you may submit your output to your MAPE teacher. To widen up our knowledge regarding the 20th century composers, here are some other artists under the 20th century music. Maurice Ravel, Claude Debussy, Arnold Schoenberg, Igor Stravinsky, Belo Bartok, Sergei Prokofiev, George Gershwin, Leonard Bernstein, and Philip Glass. For more information regarding these artists, you may refer to your Division Module 3, Week 3. Once done reading the different artists under the 20th century music, you can now do the activity. Activity number 1, word search. Direction: read carefully each clue and encircle the 10 words in the puzzle below. Words appear in straight across, backward, straight across, up and down. You may use the clues on the right side of the column. You may print, or you may also write the provided activity on a clean sheet of paper, take a picture of it, and send the screenshot to your respective MAPE teacher. After we know the different 20th century music composers, their music is being used in different art forms. This lesson is under the division module for week 4. So looking into the art forms in the right side is very vital for us to fully understand the characteristics of the 20th century music. If you were also to look at other forms such as the painting, sculpture, architecture, theater, dance, literature, multimedia art, just like music, they evolved and has styles that also uses the musical styles that you have learned. Notably, Impressionism and Expressionism in the visual art. So the music in the 20th century music is being translated or reflected into different artworks such as architecture, theater, literature, etc. A good example of this is The Starry Night by Vincent van Gogh and The Scream by Edvard Munch. The music of the 20th century music is being used in theater. Theater is a collaborative art form which combines words, voice, movement, and visual elements to express meaning. The field of theater encompasses not only improvised and script work, but also dramatic forms such as film, television, and other electronic media. Due to the increasing pervasive influence of contemporary theatrical media, theater has enormous importance in citizens' life. Theater is about the examination and resolution of fundamental human issues and is built on understanding and presenting interactions between people. So the music of the 20th century music is now applied in theaters. We may not be noticing it, but then it is applied. It is also used in film. It resembles painting, music, literature, and the dance. It is also called movie or motion picture, a visual art form used to stimulate experiences that communicates ideas, stories, perception, feeling, beauty, or atmosphere by means of recorded or programmed using images along with sounds and other stimulations. So the 20th century music is also being applied in film as a background sound, such as in the film Harry Potter or the Avengers Marvel. You would notice the background music is part of the 20th century music composition. 20th century music is also used in multimedia. As we all know, multimedia uses different applications as we use in web and in cyberspace. Commonly refers to the audiovisual presentation in film, television, video, interactive gaming, computer interfaces, and other on the internet. This spectator listener typically take for granted role played by music and audio, although if as most would agree that the music and sound contribute to the entertainment value, communication function, and aesthetic pleasure or educational purposes that multimedia can provide it. So we haven't noticed, but the 20th century music is also used as background sounds in different multimedia applications such as in TikTok or in the online games that we are using now. Knowing the relevance of the 20th century music in the different artworks, you may now proceed in answering the activity. Activity number 1. Matching type. Direction: match the relative art forms with its characterization. Write the correct answer in the space provided before each number. So it is divided in column A and column B. You may write down the activity on a clean sheet of paper. Take a screenshot of it and send it to your respective MAPE teacher. That sums up our week 1 Music 10. You may access our answer sheet in our MAPE 10 School Year 21-22. You can also get your study guide and performance tasks at this page. Just simply click Send Message and click your desired material needed. You may also visit our page for other learning materials and video every week for additional information. Pass your output via FB Messenger until Saturday. We are hoping that the enough time given is a lot in doing the said simple activities. Keep updated and stay connected. God bless learners. This is your MAPI 10 teachers. Thank you for listening.